Today we brought in 10 different iconic rap songs, and you guys have to tell us if they're overrated or underrated, and we're going to answer those questions too. And guys, let us know down in the comments which songs we should cover next, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. But and with the first song, we have Highest in the Room by Travis Scott. What are you saying here?
Well, first of all, I want to say this. When you sent me over the list for today's songs, I was like, yeah, you truly do think that Highest in the Room is iconic? And I'm like, well, you know what? It's true. It had a massive place in the 2020 decade, especially for Travis.
2019 it came out, though.
Well, I think it only went number one in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, what's cool about this, though, is that I do feel like there is a lot of quality to the song. But I will say this. I do feel like I could lightly go on to like the overrated side if I had to, just because of the replay value. Was never one that stuck through my rotation. But I will say this, I really do like the production from Mike Dean and co. I also do like what Travis is talking about, you know, his affair that he had on the side, you know, of Kylie Jenner, and then after that also talking about his substance abuse problem. So I do think there is quality in it, you know?
I feel like it's overrated just because it is one of Travis's most streamed songs. I mean, it went number one, but it fell out of rotation upon impact for me. And I feel like the reason why it had all that hype at the beginning was because it was around, I think it was the first song that was released after the breakup with Kylie, and for some reason people kind of go crazy over that kind of shit.
Well, it was also the Halloween time also, because you had like this sort of haunting beat that also fit the season, and you are right, the thing with Kylie Jenner happened 3 days before, but you know, all of that aside, I do agree with you. It fell out of my rotation, but I'm going to give it the perfect rating because it's massive, it's huge, but it doesn't really...
Perfect rating?
No, meaning that like it's perfectly rated.
I totally disagree. I think it's super overrated. I think that you go through that song and Travis is writing out one flow the entire time.
But I like him for that, though, because it's nice and mellow, and like it also goes so well with that Mike Dean and OZ production.
That's the thing too. Speaking about the production, I feel like it's so standard. You have like these acoustic strings, you have this really generic drum pattern, and it feels like a song where you reach the top of the tracks of a roller coaster and it never drops. Like,
I disagree
with climax, bro. And the climax
because
almost
you're looking
comes.
at it wrong.
Wait, the climax almost comes when you get to the end of the song. You get those flourishes of Sins by Mike Dean. And you're like, holy shit, this might be a stargazing where it transitions into something else. And then the song ends.
Well, no kidding. I mean, it's a number one hit. You're not going to have a two-part song
overrated
for that. But
as
I mean,
fuck.
no, I think it's perfectly rated. I mean, there's really not a nitpick with me, especially like you're saying, like
one flow the whole song, brother.
But I mean, it fits so well with the production and it being in this constant slow motion. Like it's one of those tracks with Travis where you feel like you're on the drug trip with him, which I really did enjoy. So I'm going to say perfect rated. Lou's going to say overrated. Let's move on with this. Let's go on to In My Feelings by Drake. And this was one of the biggest songs of the year. This is one of the 3 number one singles that he had off of Scorpion. And I'm going to say this, I think it's overrated, man. I really don't enjoy it all that much.
I've gone through so many different phases with this song. Like the initial phase was like, you know what, this is not bad. Then it went viral and you had the Kiki challenge and I was seeing it everywhere. And that's when I'm like, this shit's getting annoying. And recently, over the last course of like the last year, we started like talking about the song again and having debates amongst ourselves. And after revisiting it more and more, this song's underrated, bro.
No, that's a bad take.
This song is underrated.
How could In My Feelings possibly be underrated?
Bro, because people don't look at how like dope Drake's crooning is, and like his melodies all feel heartfelt. Not only that, but it's a perfect bounce song, and it almost feels like a DJ mix of a Drake R&B song. And that's what I love is like the implementation of all the different vocal chop ups. You have Lil Wayne, City Girls, you have Magnolia Shorty, and like the way it's all sort of thrown in makes it for this fun song that has this infectious hook, and there's no real weak points for me.
Well, I mean, there are weak points, but there's also strong points. So before I get into the reason why I think that it's overrated, I mean, the things that I do like with it is like, you're right, there's certain parts, let's say, before he gets into the main chorus where the crooning is nice, you can see how the transition's going down, but once you get to the whole like, Kiki, do you love me? It's an automatic rap for me. I'm being honest with you. I find
you
the hook
don't like
super...
the hook?
I never liked the hook. I think the beat's all right. I mean, it's not one of his most impressive beats, and when I look at it in the context of Scorpion, this is not better than God's Plan for me, and I don't even like God's Plan all that much, and this is definitely not better than Ice for What, so I think it's overrated even for the album.
I think it's underrated because people reduce it to just an internet meme and don't look at the actual value.
Well, the dance did low-key carry it, like, for that whole marketing rollout, and I'm not going to stick it to that because I know it's much more than just that, but I mean, overall, when you have to look at the overview of the song, I think it's overrated.
I love it. I think it's underrated, but let's keep on going. Next song, we have Drip Too Hard by Lil Baby and Gunna, and to me, it's still crazy to this day that this is their biggest song. This is the song that went diamond for them, and I do have to admire the fact that Lil Baby does come in with this original flavor, and they're both rapping with this flow that is totally brand new. Like when you listen to the flow that they brought onto this track, Haven't heard it on any previous tracks, but is it really the best Baby and Gunna song?
Yes, it is.
No.
Okay, no, but it's not the best Baby and Gunna song. I'm not going to say that, but I will say, though.
Life Goes On,
this is a fucking,
Heating Up.
No, it's better than Heating Up. Drip Too Hard is better than Heating Up.
I don't know. It's tough.
Let's stop that right there. What I want you to say, though, is that what I want to say, excuse me, was more you're finding Lil Baby and Gunna at probably like my favorite times for both of them. So you have Gunna coming off of DS3. You also have Baby coming off of Harder Than Ever. And when you have Drip Too Hard, it's that whole play on words for both of them being in those eras and fusing that sound together. And not only that, but the sampling back that Turbo provided was super sick. It's contagious. And what's cool is that like this is a full display of their chemistry as well, because you get like Baby with this super nice, quick signature flow that he used to really do well back then, and then Gunna just comes through and
picks up right where Baby leaves off.
It's just like
it's
just a roller coaster. It's absolutely incredible.
I think it's perfectly rated for me. I don't feel like it's not a revolutionary trap hit, but it's cool. The guitar samples from Turbo, like you said, were fire. Good song. It's a good song.
It's fantastic.
Let's keep on going though. Next up, we have All I Do Is Win by DJ Khaled. So you got a Khaled song with T-Pain, Ludacris, Rick Ross, and Snoop Dogg, and of course it's gonna be a smash hit. But what's crazy to me is just the impact this song has had, bro. Like I think when Obama got reelected the second time,
he played this song.
He played this song for his first speech that he had after that reelection. Not only that, but it's used as like the sports theme song for so many different teams, and to me it is one of those ultimate like hip-hop anthems when you're looking at the whole history of the genre. I've seen people make the claim that it's like hip-hop's We Are the Champions type song.
That's a weird claim.
Why?
You're not going to start
the idea of like winning and the motivational.
Yeah, but
themes.
I'm sure there's better songs than that. I just can't think of them off the bat. But I mean, like, okay, listen, musically, I get it. You know, I understand a lot of people fuck with this song. But if you do not have that T-Pain hook there and you take out Ludacris, this song is absolutely nothing. I'm being honest.
It's so hard.
It's true though. I'm being completely honest with you. I bumped this song on endless occasions. I think this song is really nice for certain occasions, but musically, I'm sorry, it is lacking.
Literally, like the sports locker room or the club, bro. That's like the only place.
It is one of the most one-dimensional tracks I've ever seen. And listen, all I do is win is fucking sick, especially in that locker room scene. When I was playing hockey, like that's what we would play. Even let's say, you know, for the clubbing scene, how many times, like if you play 2K, this was in 2K as well. But going back to it and like having to be a nerd about it, bro, like Rick Ross's verse really does nothing for me. Especially
Snoop
with
had a nice verse though.
It was okay. It was standard for Snoop Dogg. It was like you could tell that he was trying to like kind of go a bit mainstream with like the approach behind it. It's nothing too crazy.
I don't know, because
I find it. I'm being honest. I find it a bit overrated.
Even Luda was rapping really quickly,
Luda's
and
cool.
he had some funny lines like "My verse is still serving tight like a million virgins." Like, bro, what the fuck?
It's cool though. Like you can fuck with that. You can fuck with that. But not only that, but it's also littered with like those DJ Khaled ad-libs, and you're like,
that's every Khaled song, though. We can't start nitpicking at that.
I do like the production, though. I think the production's cool.
I think it's underrated. I think too many people give it flack.
No, come on. Are you serious?
Bro, you can't lie. When you hear that song, you still get pumped up, bro. Like, it still has that fucking
I guess in the context
essence
of the club setting, obviously. But I mean, besides that, come on. You know?
Everybody hands go up. that pause in between right there.
It's crazy.
So, overrated for you?
I go slightly overrated.
Okay, I go underrated with it. Next up, though, we have Zeze by Kodak Black featuring Travis and Offset. And I gotta be honest, I fuck with the snippet more than I fuck with the song itself. And Kodak is kind of like a grandpa on Christmas. He's rocking that purple sweater. You're just moving side to side, doing like the most like subtle dance he could in that snippet. And
it's hard as fuck.
As soon as I saw that, I was sold. But the production kind of carries this one. You don't think so?
No, absolutely not.
DA got that dope beat.
There's so much going on with this song. How could you even say that? I mean, I understand where you're coming. Okay, DA got that dope definitely set up the entire song, bro. Like, if it wasn't for like that island vibe production, bro, and that bounce, you would have nothing here. But I mean, to say that Travis, Kodak, and Offset didn't contribute to this production, I think would be a misstatement. Because if you look at the way that Travis comes in, bro, that hook is phenomenal. Okay, could we agree with that? The hook is really good.
But my issue with the hook is that there's two hooks when you don't need two hooks. Keep Travis's hook and get rid of Kodak's hook, bro. Travis had the better hook. You don't need two hooks back to back like that.
It's the way that they play off of each other.
Structurally, it was a mess.
No, it isn't, because I picked up on it today, and if you look at the way that Travis finishes that verse, especially with the melodies, Kodak picks up with that same melody and then transforms transforms it with the whole Zeze shit, and it works super well. Not only that, but you get this super bouncy and mellow beat that's supposed to be relaxing and fun. Kodak is the perfect delivery for that, especially when he's slurring, especially when he's vibing out. It's awesome, especially for a party setting.
Kodak dropped the ball on his own song. He doesn't even make an effort to rap on beats. Not only that, but it just seemed like a one-taker to me. Like the way that like he almost accidentally is switching from one pitch to another. Not only that, but I did enjoy Offset's verse to some extent, but at the same time, when you go through that verse, there's a section where you hear Offset's ad-libs, you hear the vocal sample, and the tropical keys all trampling over each other in the mix, and you're like, this sounds like a clusterfuck, bro.
No,
so,
I don't agree with you.
Despite me liking Travis's hook and loving the beat, I think that it's an overrated song.
I don't agree with your take about Offset, because I think that what he did on the track was actually really good. Because if he would have came in,
I said I liked the verse, bro.
I know, but I just want to talk to you towards the end, because what you're saying is low-key not true, because Offset's using this super mellowed out and slower type of delivery for his standards. And bro, it works perfectly with the production and the ad-libs, and he sticks them in and plucks them in at good times. So I'm not sure, bro. I'm not sure if we heard the same song. I would go with Perfectly Rated.
That's overrated without a doubt. But let's go on with the next one. We have Black and Yellow by Wiz Khalifa. And this is one of Wiz Khalifa's most iconic songs. And obviously it pays tribute to his hometown because their colors that they're known for are black and yellow. And I mean, over time, I've kind of came to appreciate it for what it is. It's Wiz Khalifa's breakout song. It had that radio-friendly appeal to it. But the more that I listen to it, the more it's kind of getting knocked down a few points for me. And I started like listening to it. I'm like, you know what? If you just switch black and yellow to like red and yellow, it becomes like a McDonald's jingle, bro. Like really think about that. Like,
you know what it is? No,
red and yellow, red and yellow.
No,
like
can't say
McDonald's,
that.
don't tell me McDee's wouldn't pay millions for that,
but
bro.
it's not red and yellow though. It's black and yellow. So,
I know.
So let's stick to what the material is.
Yes.
I disagree with you though, because I think that for what Wiz Khalifa is doing here, I mean, he's talking about three main things. It's cars, women, and weed.
Yeah, it's
That's
simple.
legitimately the content matter of the verses. But you don't care about that. What you care about is him doing that, black and yellow, black and yellow. Like, that repetition is so fucking catchy and simple.
It is catchy, yeah.
And that's what I like about the song, is that it's simple, it's effective, and it plays into Wiz's strengths. Like, obviously, this is not going to be some huge fucking orchestral piece. You know, it's not meant to do that.
I'm not expecting that.
But I mean, for what it does, I think it's perfectly rated. It was huge. There's a great hook behind it. He's talking about three things that most rappers talk about. Like, there's literally nothing I can nitpick with
I just feel like when you're looking at like the grand scope of like anthems for certain cities or states, when you're looking at like Empire States of Minds and like songs that are really of that caliber.
For Pittsburgh,
this
though.
is different.
This was massive,
you know
though.
I mean?
Like, it was huge, and it has its own style to it.
I know it was
so
huge.
Cool
It's a good song. I just feel like it's overrated. Like, I don't think it belongs at the upper echelon of these anthems for cities. But it's my opinion. You guys let us know in the comments.
Oh, I disagree.
Overrated for me, underrated, or perfectly rated for you?
Perfectly rated for me.
Okay, next up, though, we have She Knows by J. Cole featuring Amber Kaufman and Cult. And I'm going to be honest, like, it was so cool to see this song get a second wind on TikTok, like, as of late.
It was massive. Because I never thought it was going to really get that second wind, but it was always a huge song for him. I mean, what's crazy, I think it's sitting at like 2.3 million page views on Genius. I don't know why I remember that, but I was going through the Genius annotations, and I'm like, sheesh, bro, like, the lyrics are definitely hitting because some people are trying to look for them. But I mean, what's cool about this song, though, is that when you look at J. Cole's biggest hits, right? Like, let's say the No Role Models, and even going on to something like A Middle Child, they're all distinct to each other. And that's what I like about She Knows, is that it's not as big as, let's say, a No Role Models, but it's one of his more low-key hits because it's still massive and it's doing really good with a young generation. And I think that's really the factor that makes it a good record, is that it's timeless, bro. It's speaking to a whole new generation of kids that might not even have gone into Born Sinner back in 2013,
Absolutely.
Which is incredible to think about.
And I also feel like it has one of my favorite beat drops ever in a hip-hop song. Like, when you have like those creepy vocal sample and then those drums come crashing in at like the 40-second mark, that shit's fire. Not only that, but I love the narrative of the actual song, just because in hip-hop and music in general, there's so many love songs that follow certain cliches and conventions, but this song kind of breaks away from that, and it's the concept of cheating on your girl and her being aware and you being aware that she's aware. And Cole kind of spins it in a way where it's like this temptation can happen to anyone, even someone like Martin Luther King, where he brings you into that scenario of like MLK being in the club and kind of having like a baddie in his ear. That shit was funny and clever to me.
It's cool.
And yeah, I love the hook. I love the sample. I feel like Cole really knocked it out of the park. And for a radio-friendly single, it's got infinite replay value for me. And if you would tell me that it's one of your favorite cuts off of Born Sinner, which most people don't have that opinion, I wouldn't look at you like you're a doorknob. I would say that's fucking justified.
That is justified. Absolutely.
So listen, underrated for me, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
I went perfect rated because I still went and go look at the statistics and stuff, and it is one of his most beloved songs. When I look at like the hit, I
no
think
one ever puts it in like the upper echelon.
Especially now with the whole TikTok wind, like I think it's justified. Maybe if you were to talk to me like 2 years ago, I'd have been like, yeah, that's an underrated.
I feel
hit.
like people have shit spoken this song before. You know, like
I never heard about it.
Yeah, I feel like this Crooked Smile.
Listen, if you guys don't fuck what she knows, like drop your explanation in the comment section.
Absolutely.
I want to see like the reasoning behind it.
But next up, we have Caroline by Aminé, and this is another example of a breakout hit for an artist. And what's interesting is that Aminé said that he wanted to make hip hop's Billie Jean with this song, and I just love how fun this song is, bro. Like that's the best word to kind of.
You know what the most fucked up part about this song is the song structure. All right, if you go through this song, what you think is the hook is actually the verses, and what you think are the verses are actually the pre-chorus and the main chorus, or sorry, the post-chorus, because actually there's not technically a main chorus in this song according to Genius. But what I love about this song is all the lead-ins, bro. All of like the little like. He's taking you to the edge and then boom, you're falling off, especially with the instrumentals and the way that he's like kind of rounding and playing around with them. And I think the most underrated instrument of this fucking production is probably the cowbell, bro. That cowbell hits so fucking hard, especially when he goes with like those weird vocal inflections, and it just works super well as like this sort of earworm, if that makes sense.
As a performer, he's just so dynamic on here. He's brimming with personality from like the way that he transitions from the verse to the hook, and even just like the funny ass harmonies he's putting in the background, the ad libs, like everything is just so well tied together. And I mean, there's even a sick crescendo, and everything that he put into this is fun. It's bright. It's a good spirited song that it feels like it captures the youthfulness of Aminé, you know what I mean?
It's relatable, and you kind of get into the storyline with him, you know, like the lingo that he's using and the way that he's setting everything up. It's a really cool song. It keeps you on the edge of your feet, and I think it's underrated because
no one really talks about it that often.
Not only that, but when he dropped this, I remember this was back on hip hop Twitter in like 2020. You know, people were like, "Oh, like all Aminé is going to be known for is Caroline, and that's it." And this was before like the whole limbo phase because he dropped Reel It In, and then that went crazy as well. But they were still skeptical about his music, and then he goes on to Limbo, drops something fantastic. But I feel like people low-key looked at this like kind of like a detriment, quote unquote, as like that one hit for him and that was going to be it. But it's one of his most timeless songs that he has in the catalog, which is crazy to think about.
Aged so damn well, so definitely underrated without a doubt. But next up we have Weekend by Mac Miller featuring Miguel, and even though this is one of Mac Miller's biggest hits, I still feel like it doesn't get the love that it deserves. And I love the actual impact that songs like this have for Mac Miller fans and fans beyond that, how relatable it is. Just that idea of, you know, you might be going through some shit because of a heartbreak or certain emotional pain, but there's that whole idea that time heals all, and that like that weekend is coming, that brighter future is still, you know, on the way.
You know what's cool about this song is I feel like it's kind of Mac Miller's swimming pools to a certain extent, where the content matter is so deep and profound, and he has stuff on here like Go Long Days, Longer Nights, Talk Too Much, The Wrong Advice, All the Lights, and Call My Life, Doctor, Doctor, Will You Help Me, Get Me Healthy, Keep It Low, This Is Where He'll Be. Like, this is the sort of talk that was on Good AM, and he's putting into this sort of like party exclusive record that's not supposed to have this type of content matter. Not only that, but I love how Mac Miller and Miguel blend their vocals on this song and how they layer them together. I find it goes absolutely incredible because Miguel has like sort of a softer touch on his vocals while Mac Miller has that raspiness, and it actually works super nice. And then Miguel ends up taking the outro of the song, which wraps up everything, and I think it's still underrated, bro. I'm being honest with you.
Absolutely.
Like, this is an incredible track.
I love these songs where Mac Miller is just rapping so earnestly about his drug abuse and like what drives him to get there. You know, if it's him trying to like numb himself from the pain or whatever the case may be, and just such an infectious hook. Miguel's verse at the end is also absolutely fucking beautiful.
It's beautiful, yeah. It's just a nice
classy
song.
Trumpets at the beginning. Everything is near flawless with this track, so definitely underrated, and more people should give it love. But the last song for today is Paper Planes by M.I.A. And this is interesting just because I feel like a lot of hip-hop fans look at M.I.A. and sort of downplay her abilities because they think of her for the franchise feature or
at
maybe for the Fine Wine feature.
Yeah.
But nobody knows what she was doing in the 2000s with songs like Paper Planes. And this is brilliant, bro.
This is brilliant. You know, this is a fun fact about the song. NPR ranked this as the greatest song by a female or non-binary, artist in the 21st century, bro. That's how important this song was. And if you guys want to go into the content matter of the song, there's a lot of explanations on Genius and even on Wikipedia. It was a massive movement behind it. And M.I.A, this is actually our breakout song into the States, which is absolutely incredible just because of the political vision behind this song and what it actually means. And what's cool is that she's also doing character building in this song because she's acting as like this arms dealer, and then in the production you're getting the gunshots and you're getting the cinematic value. If I'm being honest with you, I think it's underrated, bro. Even if it's like rated perfectly, like you could say that, I still think it's underrated for how fucking sick
it
this
is.
Song
Underrated because when people look at like those types of hits that were going crazy during 2007, 2008, you had like Stronger, you had Kiss Me Through the Phone, but no one really like brings this into conversation. And I feel like it's so unique in comparison to everything that was hitting and that was seen as like the biggest bangers of that era. And like you were saying, just those gunshots and M.I.A rapping with this unique flow. I mean, everything about it was so refreshing, and it brings me like so much nostalgia because this was a trailer for the movie Pineapple Express, and I remember like looking forward to that movie and just junking that trailer and falling in love with that song.
Not only that, but it was actually in Slumdog Billionaire, if you're familiar with that movie soundtrack as well, which is pretty cool. So it was part of big cultural moments also in the film industry. So listen, I think it's underrated. But guys, listen, how did you like our song selections for today? And if we were to do this again, let me know what songs you would want to see in the next episode. Guys, much love if you made it throughout the entire video. Not only that, but we're live on Twitch. If you guys want to come kick it at our live streams, it's super cool. It's casual. We're going to be doing aux battles, a new news panel, award show at a certain point. It's going to be super sick, guys. So much love for coming through, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.